People have been asking me to cover this No More Innocence mod, and when I looked it up, it's actually very interesting. But for people who are actually hardcore Sonic fans, you are probably not going to like this character very much. Now, even though this character's name is No More Innocence, we're just going to call him Innocence for short. And Innocence is actually a Japanese spirit that feeds off the happiness of children. The children that he feeds on the most are children who are fans of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, the good news here is that he doesn't actually eat the children. He just eats that happy feeling that they get when they're playing Sonic the Hedgehog. The bad news here, though, is that he also makes the children even more addicted to the video game. So basically, he takes kids who are already playing this game a lot, and he makes it to where the game is kind of like a drug. And if the kids don't actually play the game, it's almost as if they go through a physical type of pain. The game is no longer something that they do in their free time or just for pleasure. It becomes something that they have to do. So while Innocence may not be as dangerous as some of the other characters that we've covered on the channel, he is definitely anything but innocent. Whenever he finds himself in a new home, he has nothing but ill intent and malice towards the children that also reside in that home. Now, the backstory for how people actually found out about Innocence is kind of interesting. Basically, when Sonic the Hedgehog 2 came out in Japan, there were a bunch of reports about these fake cartridges that were also being picked up by children. When you actually put the game in, it was obvious that they were just mediocre copies of Sonic the Hedgehog. If you look at Innocence, you can obviously tell that he doesn't look anything like Sonic. But the thing that was frightening is that when people actually came into contact with the game, even if they just touched it, they would start to display some pretty bad symptoms such as intense headaches. They would also start to lose their eyesight and start to have these weird stomach aches. And the worst symptom was that some kids, especially after they had played the game for about a week, they suddenly started losing the ability to walk or even stand up. And now that we know how Innocence works, we can probably understand that the reason that he takes away their ability to walk is so that they'll have to sit in bed and play that game even more. The sad part here is that most of these kids are too young to even understand that anything is wrong, so they tell their parents that they're fine and all they want to do is continue playing this game, having no idea that this evil spirit is basically compelling them to play. Something that I actually find terrifying about Innocence is once parents started figuring out that something was wrong with their children and trying to reach out for help, Innocence had basically already infiltrated the entire home, meaning that he wasn't just affecting the children but also the adults. And he basically affects adults by making sure that they don't get proper rest, and also he keeps them from making like coherent thoughts and sentences. And I know for some people they may think that not being able to sleep really isn't a big deal, but if a person doesn't get proper rest, especially day after day after day, it's basically like they're sleepwalking when they're fully awake. It kind of turns them into like a zombie of a person. So even if people were able to call the police and try to get help, they couldn't actually communicate what was going on. And even people who were able to make coherent thoughts, in the background of their calls when they were trying to get help, there would be this demonic voice speaking over them, so people couldn't actually hear them anyway. And people who would try to come and help those families usually ended up getting affected as well, and then the cycle starts all over again, making this guy surprisingly dangerous. Some interesting facts about Innocence is that even though he's kind of like a poltergeist or a ghost, meaning that he can like move through different electronics in the home and even like move outside of the television, kind of like that girl from The Ring, he can't actually be hurt when he comes into the physical world. And considering the fact that it takes a long time for his abilities to actually become dangerous, if he slips up, he can actually be harmed and even defeated. And this is very possible because while he is very intelligent, he's also very cocky and he believes himself to be invincible when that is definitely not the case. A lot of people are wondering why in the actual mod, Tails is actually battling against Innocence, and it's because this is supposed to be based off Sonic 2. And if you remember in Sonic 2, Tails was basically programmed to follow Sonic around. So this version of Sonic that is trapped in this Sonic 2 bootleg is basically forced to follow this version of Sonic forever. And it seems that Tails is crying and kind of pointing at him because he's trying to warn people that, hey, this is a fake Sonic, you're in danger. Because even though this is obviously a fake Sonic, the Tails that is trapped here with him is the real deal. Meaning that he still has this kind heart and that heroic type of persona, so he's actually trying to save as many people as he can. And it's actually a little sad that how a lot of these alternate universes, Tails usually gets the short end of the stick, even though he's such a good character. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video where I go over the new Wednesday Infidelity mod, or check out this video where I go over more Sonic mods. Subscribe today to become a member of the Orseofkorse, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Peace, peace.